Hey kid, don't ever let them get inside your head. They'll tell you what to do in life instead of everything you know that you could get. Don't let them guide your life towards regret. I'll fight for what I love with every breath. My past is filled with things I won't forget. I use them all to push me to my best. So treat the worst of times just like a test. If only I could go back in time, I'd tell myself that everything will end up alright. Just push yourself, test yourself, figure out what you like, and find your limits, don't be rigid, always work towards a prime. Surround yourself with open minds, people can change your life. A few friends with intent can help you feel alive. Find a passion, take some action, and with a little time, just be patient, make a statement, try to enjoy your life. They'll try to kick you while you're down. They wanna rise up while you drown. They wanna fill your head with doubt. They're silently scared that you'll figure it out. I'll make it look like I'm losing, won't bother hiding my bruises. And when they finally think you're wounded, then it's your chance to be ruthless. They don't wanna see me care. Anytime I make some progress, I can see that they compare. I think everyone's against me, maybe something in the air. Am I paranoid? I swear a void is forming and they're scared. I walk a straight path, not many can say that. I like to play fast, cross me and there's payback. You better pray that I don't see your face at any place that I go. I know you hate that. I've been doing fine, I'm not wasting any more time. I live for the fight and the climb, and I think that the pain that's deep inside is what defines. So I won't give up, I'm gonna make it to the top. I don't care what's in my way, I swear I'm never gonna stop. I could fall flat on my face and I swear I will get back up, cause I don't deserve a thing and the road ahead is tough. They'll try to kick you while you're down. They wanna rise up while you drown. They wanna fill your head with doubt. They're silently scared that you'll figure it out. I'll make it look like I'm losing, won't bother hiding my bruises. And when they finally think you're wounded, then it's your chance to be ruthless.
Hey, good evening, one and all, and Happy New Year 2025.
Happy New Year, John, and everybody listening and watching. I hope you all had a good Hogmanay.
And Happy New Year to the chat room, Dreadeye and Julie. I know Ed the Techie, his name sounds familiar. Nectaridus. Julie again. Vicky Humble. Is that a new one? Vicky? That's good. Nice to see. I always like to hear people, right? Happy New Year, Ray, Shalini, and that's at the moment in the chat. If you're there, don't be shy. Join in. These people don't bite. I've had them all. I've had them all
bite a little bit.
Well, I've had them all toned down. Did you do? Happy New Year. Cool. This is nice. This is good. I like seeing new people.
It's always nice.
Soldier. And I know it's a bit of a different year, isn't it? Because it's 2025 and you're drinking beer and I'm drinking wine. What is going on?
Yeah, well, I had some Duvals left over, and I should caveat it by saying this is beer that's 9%. So it's
Whoa.
not. It's not the kind of beer that you kind of chug back. You sip and savor it slowly.
Cool.
And I just had them left over in the fridge, and I didn't feel like opening a whole bottle of wine tonight because I'm working tomorrow. So
That's yeah. Okay,
and I just had a bloody skinful.
Yeah. Well, haven't we all? So, Happy New Year, Spencer. Good to see you, mate. Happy New Year, Vaughn. Who else we got? Anybody else new? Happy New Year, Soldier. Woohoo! So it's all looking good. It's all kicking off. I see Twitter's been suitably animated again today. Yesterday it was flat, really, really flat. It was very poor.
Yeah, but it's New Year's Day. I mean, the people that weren't hungover were probably out doing things that motivated non-drinking people do.
Yeah.
And I know loads of people who weren't planning on a messy one and then ended up having a messy one anyway, or were planning on a messy one and it ended up being a lot more messy. Which is because I wasn't planning on a particularly messy one, and I had Journeying John and Nectaridas in the house.
Oh, excellent.
And
where's Johnny John? Is he still recovering from his hangover?
He's I think he said he was going to be joining us, but he's probably
Matthew
a bit late or
Blackman.
something.
Happy New Year, Matthew. Right, so what we're going to do tonight, and actually this has been quite a cathartic thing for me. It's really helped me to look at what happened over the last year, to go back over 2024 in the rabbit hole sense, and see what was working and what wasn't, and that's quite good. It's quite good from the point of view, and I sent you I actually sent you the dump all the stats for the rabbit hole, Ed, and they're quite interesting because episodes that you think maybe weren't that great did really well, and vice versa. And that will be quite interesting because we are going to tell you what our favourite episodes of the year were, and by all means, you tell us what your favourite episodes of the year were. And I think what we'll try and do is we'll try and put a link to every episode that we mentioned into the chat. That should be easy enough to do, shouldn't it? But anyway,
you can do it from, I think, the video ID is in the spreadsheet.
Yeah, it is, but that's just the tail end. You still need to put the YouTube thing in front of it. But I can cut links from here quite quickly. Right. So yeah, it's cold. It's cold today. It's -3 here at the moment. It was cold last night. I've had the diesel heater running all day. It must have used about, I don't know, about 2.5 litres of diesel. Wow, 2.5 litres. It's been running all day.
We've had sunshine here, and
it's been sunny. It's been lovely.
My flat now, because of my new windows, is nicely insulated. So
cool. You get new windows.
I mean, it's still -1. I went round to a friend's for a curry before the show, and it was noticeably colder when I left than it was when I arrived. I noticed that in the car, and the temperature's definitely dropped by a degree or two in the last day or so.
Yeah, that's cool.
Climate change. Gotta love a bit of global warming.
I actually made a post earlier and I said, how did we survive? Because 10 years ago, 2010, December to January, we had a period up here. I don't know if you had it down there, but it was -20 for over 2 weeks. -20 degrees centigrade.
I think 20. Yeah, that sounds about right, because Brighton doesn't. I mean, we get snowfall a fair bit, but it very rarely sticks around for more than a few hours or half a day.
We had
I think it was 2010 where we had snow on the ground for a good week or two, and it was.
So how did we all survive? How did we all survive? Because I mean, it was -20 here, -20 degrees centigrade for over 2 weeks. And we had a very similar one back in the 90s as well, because I remember being out on patrol on it, and it was freaking freezing. Because I'd just been promoted and I was working, and so it must have been round about 92, 91, 92. And it was about -20 again. And I remember having to go out and walk about, and it was shockingly cold.
Yeah, I'm not a cold weather person. I don't like it hot. I mean, hot like Egypt, 45 degrees in the summer, which I've
Too
done.
hot.
That's much too hot.
Too hot.
But I also don't like it too cold. I'm a temperate climate sort of person.
You like a medium. Happy New Year, Beats and Tapes. Happy New Year, RCW. Happy New Year, Amy and Dystopia. Happy New Year, Amy. Good to see you again. Who else we got? I said RCW. I've got loads of people in tonight. This is excellent, excellent. So anyway, as I was saying, what we're going to do is we're going to give you top five views and our worst videos in the rabbit hole of the last 2024. So we'll see how that goes. And then we'll get into the better stuff where Ed and I will be discussing what we liked and what we didn't like, and maybe what you liked and what you didn't like. And Amy, for you, I have actually just written 2 Grumpy Scott reviews for movies. So he's coming back as well. So there you go. Right. Where are we? Let's start. Shall we start with the shall we start? No, that's the wrong page.
You are mein kleiner Kommandant.
What happened there? What happened? I don't understand. Oh, I know.
I don't know. You're being
what there you go. That's better. That's us. Yeah.
Are you failing again?
Yeah, well, I need a producer, don't I? Happy New Year is Spiritual Mechanic TV.
Well, why didn't you just say, would someone please volunteer to be my producer?
I've asked, but nobody wants to do it for no money. That's the problem.
Well,
I don't blame them.
They have to work for a grumpy old bastard like you.
I'm not easily pleased. That's a problem as well. I am very grumpy, and I think I'm getting worse. But have you got any New Year resolutions, Ed? Because I am definitely going. I am going all in. I'm going leaner and meaner. That's what I'm going to be. I've had enough. I'm getting rid of this weight, and I'm going to be meaner.
I never make New Year's resolutions. Because I think that life is a constant process of change, and that we should always be trying to work on the things that we're not happy with rather than saving it all up for 1 year. I'm not stopping smoking. I'm not stopping drinking. And that's the traditional kind of news. I'm going to stop smoking for New Year's. And some people do it, and some people don't. And I look at the world around me and think, I need a spliff.
Yeah, I just need to get into my trousers. That's all I need, mate.
Well, that's a good goal. Yeah, being able to get into your trousers is a good goal.
Yeah, this is the problem during the holiday season when one wears elasticated waistbands. Not a good idea. It catches up on you too quickly. Happy New Year, Journeying John. There you go. He has joined us. Did I already say Happy New Year to Matthew Blackman? I don't want to miss anyone out. If anyone's been missed out, let me know. Ed is a Dalek. Are you a Dalek, Ed? What's happened?
I don't know. Is it my mic?
You sound fine to me. This has never happened. We've never had this issue. Right. Give us some audio. Hold on.
Give you some audio.
No. Wait, right.
What sort of audio do you want me to give you?
Does he sound better now, people?
Does this sound better, or do I still sound like a Dalek? If I say exterminate, do you think?
Yeah, that was my fault. If I'd had a producer, he would have picked up on that straight away. Or she would have picked up on that straight away. No, he's not a Dalek anymore, Janet, and Happy New Year to you. So there we go.
Excellent. Right, I like not being a Dalek.
Right, that's cool. Right, okay. So excellent. So shall we proceed with the actual show? Oh, and I'm going to have to do new intros for everything because I can't use Suno anymore. Because now that the channel is monetized again, Suno will now hit you for copyright strike. So I'm going to have to go back to using FX, who actually, let's be fair, is a much better guy. So I'll probably go back to FX and White Bat Audio, but I'll have to make some new intros. That's why you got Ruthless tonight, because it was there. Right. Okay, here we go. So let's start with the fifth most popular video of the year was the church or the temple. What's the difference? So that was when we did the rabbit hole into the Church of Satan, and
Yeah.
what was the temple? The temple of it was the Church of Satan.
Temple of, I think it's the Temple of Satan.
Yeah, something like that. Aye, one's the Church of Satan, and the other one was the Temple of Satan, and that is the fifth most popular video, which had. Did we tell them how many views it had? It had 155 views. Now, I mean that sounds pathetic, and it kind of is, but we're still working to try and get a bigger audience. But anyway,
and we're also not the sort of channel that YouTube is really going to spend much time putting in front of people because of the material and our potty mouths, probably.
well, it doesn't help to a degree. It certainly doesn't. Right. Okay. So that was number 5. Number four, strangely enough, was one of mine, which was a solo one, which was everything doesn't have to be a conspiracy, which had 165 views. And that was on the back of you remember the bridge? When the ship had the bridge? And everybody started going on about it being a conspiracy and everyone was going to be attacking all the ports that never happened. So everything doesn't need to be a conspiracy. Remember that, people. Skepticism is fine. In fact, it probably should be your default position rather than believing. I would go with skepticism first and then be convinced. I find that the best way. Right.
Yeah, I agree. One has to be skeptical, but there's no harm in theorizing, particularly
none whatsoever.
I mean, as long as you're not inciting anyone to riot or do anything of those things that will land you in prison, then I think a bit of speculation and theories, and sometimes it turns out that that there is rabbit holes there, and sometimes it's just an accident. But like you said, the default setting should be skepticism.
Yeah, that's a good point, Ed, and actually brings me to a conversation I had today with a young lady on Twitter or X or whatever you want to call it. But I was asking her. She's made some statement about aliens, about how it's great that she knows that we're not alone in the universe, and she's just waiting for disclosure. And I said, "Well, how do you know?" You know, and she said that she was an experiencer and believed other people's testimonies of other experiencers. And I said, okay, I mean, that's fine. And I wasn't trying to be an out-and-out dick about it. I was actually genuinely interested in how she got to this conclusion that she definitely wasn't alone in the universe, or we weren't definitely alone in the universe. And I asked them, well, what was it that convinced you? And she just said it was the fact that she had an experience and she believed other people. And I said, that's great, but I need something more than that. I can't listen to other people and just believe their testimony because, and let's be honest, traditionally, eyewitness testimony is the most unreliable evidence you're going to get. What you really want is something to back it up as well. And she came back at me and said, well, you know, that's great. You do you. And that was what prompted my next tweet, which was, is you do you just someone saying politely, fuck off?
Pretty much. Given the way that some people talk to each other on Twitter quite regularly, I think getting a response like that from someone is actually, it's a polite way of saying fuck off. But yeah, it's also the fact that it's a polite reply. It counts for more than anything else, because some people can be so bloody beastly, especially when you start challenging their core belief system that they've very carefully built up watching YouTube videos for 6 months. And you try and throw some logic and some facts in there, or at least try and get them to kind of wire the theory together so that it actually makes some consistent logical sense.
Yeah.
But at the same time, for me, just going back to the question of whether we're alone in the universe, for me, I'd be more surprised if we weren't. I mean, if you just look at the sheer vast scale of what we know, what we've seen, the number of galaxies and the number of stars within each galaxy, and okay, the Goldilocks zone, which is where Earth is, which is that ideal period. You need a specific type of star. It needs to be a specific size. There has to be. It's not every solar system is going to have a Earth-like planet.
No, of course not.
But for me, the chances of us being alone in the universe are much greater. Much less than the chance of us not being alone in the universe. It's just because of the size of it. I just find it even if we're the only,
unless we're the first. Unless we're the first. And I did a video about that, because that's a kind of existential dread one, isn't it? If we're the first, we're the ancient. Imagine if we were the ancients. Imagine how fucking disappointed people will be when they find.
Imagine some super advanced civilization in 5,000 or 10,000 years, looking back, trying to understand their origins, and humans have gone out and we've gone to Mars, and then we've kind of populated the rest of the galaxy and all of that stuff, and then looking back, and they see the world as it was in the 2020s, and you just think, oh my god, that's so embarrassing. They'd have to cover it up. There'd be sections of their history that they just have to erase, because they just couldn't accept that they came from people that were that stupid.
Oh, so apparently Amy got attacked by a ram. That's not a good thing.
I know. I saw that on Twitter.
Wow. Yeah, you want to stay away from them. Well, I suppose it's difficult if you've got them, though, mind you. Right. I did see a tweet today about some guy that was attacked by a ram, and he kept jumping over the bloody thing. It was mental. It kept trying to ram him, and he just jumped over it till the very end. He fell over, and then the ram got him. Right. Anyway, enough of that. So I hope you're feeling all right, Amy. Next, number 3. This is one of your favourites, I think. Is it? I don't know. Maybe not. Myth or Madness. This was our Lovecraftian. No, that was not on
my list.
No, Lovecraftian
I
myth.
Adjusted my list.
Lovecraftian myth or a breaking dimensions. That was number 3, believe it or not, with 174 views. So that's not too bad.
That was a good one too.
Yeah, I enjoyed that one.
Was,
yeah, I liked it.
But then it was choosing the one I liked the least was quite easy, because I've enjoyed most of the shows, but there's one that stands out that we'll find out about later that I didn't enjoy, mainly not because of you, because of me, but we'll get to that one later. Okay.
Right. Number 2, second from top, was the Gnome Rescue Mission, the Truth Serum run. You know, where they went to take the vax. Was it a vaccine? Or was that an antidote? Was it an...
Well, it was some... I think it was...
Was it an antidote?
It was medicine that a remote community needed, and the voyage to get it there through a blizzard. And I mean, I enjoyed that episode because it's such a great story of human endurance and compassion and people kind of going above and beyond for each other. It always stirs something in the heart, that one.
Yeah, it does. So that was quite good. And what I'm going to do now is I'm not going to go and tell you what number 1 is, because that would be too easy. What I'm going to do is give you our worst episode, right? And we don't even have one worst episode, Ed. We've got 2. 2 tied for worst viewed episode on 29 views, right? So one was the reaction video to... Where's my mouse gone? So the reaction video to You Were the Experiment, which I actually enjoyed making that episode really well. That was the one in which I dug into all the different times the government has experimented on you as without telling you, spreading clouds of noxious gas across Devonshire coasts, spreading noxious bacteriological agents and radioactive agents on the underground and into the air, just to see how things would.
I think that one got so few views, not because people don't find that stuff interesting, but because of suppression by algorithms and the powers that be not wanting stuff like that to be mainstream knowledge.
I think you may be right. And then the one that tied with it was one I think I did that one on my own, did I? The Nature of Light.
Yeah,
because I was talking about hard light and stuff like that, and it was a bit one of those kind of metaphysical rants where I just go off onto complete and utter nonsense. So that one didn't do well either. But the question is, it's not so much the content that stops it being good. It seems to be the things that don't get people clicking on it. So it must be things like the thumbnail, and the title. So, but anyway, so drum roll. I don't have a drum roll. Good grief. I don't have a drum roll. I could always just do this.
How dare you?
So, number one, our best viewed episode, with this year 235 compared to last year's, which was over 400. I think over 475 for The Mirror is Dangerous. That one went down a storm last year, the year before, 2023. But
I thought that one was from this year.
No, see, The Mirror is Dangerous was from December 2023.
Yeah, no, I missed it. I didn't spot the handy column right next to the title telling me what date it was.
Ah, right. Okay. So there you go. So this one is. Where the hell's the mouse gone now? This is the most viewed video was Right or Round the Bend, Ashton Forbes and MH370. He's a contentious character.
He's a very contentious character. I mean, you and I have differing views on free energy and stuff, which is there's nothing wrong with that.
No,
Ashton Forbes is very prickly and he's very secretive, and it doesn't lend himself very well to kind of trusting him, because you see the way that he responds to people who question him, and he gets very defensive very quickly. And he's completely convinced that he's got the whole thing figured out, and particularly with the MH370, that you had the three orbs and the thing disappeared and it was teleported somewhere and all of that jazz. And he's remarkably intolerant of people who disagree with him.
Yeah.
Even if they disagree with him politely and kind of ask him. I mean, it's one thing that if you float a theory like that and you get shouted down by people, you can just block them and ignore them, or lay into them if that's your thing. But when people are asking you polite, logical, sensible questions, then if you don't answer those in a polite, logical, sensible way, then it just makes you look like a bit of a dick.
Did you?
And I'm not saying he is, because people can come across in a certain way.
I mean, look at me.
I wasn't going to say anything.
As I was going to say, did you see him on Danny Jones? Do you watch Danny Jones at all? Danny Jones does a good podcast, and he's pretty good. He interviewed him, and Danny Jones is quite a kind of laid back kind of character, and even he had his back up when he was talking to this guy, because he made that famous quote, "My butthole's the same as your butthole." Ashton did. Because we were talking, do you remember when we looked at it? We looked at the corridor crew stuff, and how the explosion was a 1994 stock image, and it matched exactly. but it didn't match exactly until you expanded it slightly, and then it matched exactly. Now, there is no way a shockwave is going to match exactly if it's not the same shockwave. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So no matter if you pull or push another
Chaos theory.
yeah, but exactly. No matter how much you push or pull another shockwave in, or out, it's never going to match one that isn't the same as it, unless it is
Well,
the
it's the
same.
same as no two snowflakes are the same.
Exactly. And Ashton said, that's just like saying my butthole's the same as your butthole because they just look the same.
Yeah, that's not that's I don't think using bumholes as a point in an argument is the way to go.
Don't think it is either.
So certainly not if you want to be taken seriously.
Yeah, I don't think so either, mate.
I mean, he's a bit, what's the right word for it? Acerbic?
Arrogant?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you could say that too. But I mean, some of these people are, because there are other podcasters who I watch who are going to remain nameless for fear of getting letters from lawyers, that I would say also have a touch of the arrogance about them.
Mm-hmm.
And I think at the same time to do something like this and make a podcast successful, or to be so into your particular subject that you know more about it than 99.9% of people on the planet, I guess maybe that lends itself to people being arrogant dickwads. But it's not. The thing is, particularly with niche subjects, like some of these podcasters I'm thinking about, it's not good to disappear up your own asshole, basically.
Yeah.
That's really what it comes down to. And there's no what is that old expression? You'll attract more bees with honey than you will with vinegar.
Yeah, more wasps. Bees.
But then at the same time, when you're having to
it
deal
doesn't
with,
matter. Yeah,
and also when you're having to deal with legions of internet dickheads and trolls and bots and government agents who are in there essentially trying to discredit you and wind you up and stuff, then sometimes it can be a bit difficult to keep your cool.
Well, yes, but it's such a wild theory to marry yourself to, and basically that's all he's got. That's all he's got is that video. It's all he talks about. It's. I just find it. I mean, I've actually had a couple of interactions with him on Twitter, and he's just. I think he's very much on the spectrum or something. I just find him really strange and weird to deal with.
Some of these, particularly the people who get fixated on one particular thing, like that video, and also make all sorts of wild claims about things that they know, and saying that we've got proof and we've got a working thing, but we're not going to release it because bad things happen to people who release that technology and all of this stuff. So, and there is, I mean, yeah, there's an argument that supports that, but at the same time, there's ways of doing things that will cast you in a more favorable light than other ways of doing things, that where you can, especially in this medium, because it's very easy to give the wrong impression.
As you're right. Ashton has too much to lose if this proves, says Soldier. Well, I kind of much think he will, though. I can't see. I really. And let's talk briefly about 0 Point Energy, Ed, since we touched on it earlier, because your views and mine are different. In some respects, I mean, I think there is a possibility of 0 point energy actually existing, and there is a possibility of harnessing it. But and this is where I find Ashton goes a bit awry, because he describes himself as a physicist, and he's not. He's no more a physicist than I am. I mean, I've done university level physics, but I haven't graduated as a physicist, and I don't think he did either. I think he's a
Well,
biologist.
my grandfather was a physicist,
Yeah.
and Ashton doesn't talk like a physicist.
He's not a physicist.
Because of all of the sciences and scientists, to me the top two are the physicists and the mathematicians, because particularly with physics and maths especially, you can describe pretty much the whole universe using mathematics.
Well, you can pretty much describe anything you want using mathematics, to be fair.
Well, yeah, obviously.
And you can make shit up using mathematics as well.
Mm-hmm. And I mean the same with some of the more, like the quantum physics theories and string theory and stuff that very few people understand, and some of the more theoretical stuff, some of which may be correct, some of which may be not incorrect.
Yeah.
But physicists and those proper scientists, they talk in a certain way. They have a certain attitude.
They do, right? And to get back to where I was, my problem with 0 point energy is, if apparently, from what I understand, and it's obviously limited, but the more you take out, the quicker you got to pay it back. Because if you take it out and don't pay it back, then you are introducing instability into a stable system, and then all chaos could just erupt. So people that think you can tap into 0 point and just use it willy-nilly, how are you going to pay it back? How are you going to introduce stability into that system? This is the problem I have. And to use something that you say is 0 point to make an airplane disappear or move from one place to another instantaneous, the energy involved for that would be immense. So, who paid it back, and what did it cost? That's the problem.
Yeah, and those are very good questions to which I don't have an answer.
Mm-hmm.
I just think that, particularly because, I mean, Nikola Tesla himself said that there's an infinite amount of electrical energy in the air, and all we have to do is tap into it. And
but that's not 0 point, right? That's different. There's a voltage gradient in the atmosphere, and every meter or something, it goes up by 10 volts or something, or 1 amp or something like that. But anyway, there's a voltage gradient in the atmosphere, and the higher you go, the more the difference is. So there is energy there to be used, but that's not 0 point energy. You don't need to pay that back.
Well, that's it. When we talk about free energy, we're not necessarily talking about 0 point.
Okay, but Ashton was, and that's why I was going on about 0 point.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. No, I mean, free energy.
That you and I have discussed it.
Yeah. And no doubt we'll end up discussing it again. But anyway, shall we move on, Ed? Let's try and pick this up a bit, make things a bit lighter. What's your favourite episodes? Have you got any?
Yes, I have, and it's a bit difficult to. These are in no particular order.
Mm-hmm.
So, one of my favourites, one of my top 5 was the Who Built the Moon.
Oh yeah, I nearly put that on my list. I really did,
because I thought that was a really fascinating chat, and the book that Nectar Readers got me for my birthday, which formed the basis of what we were talking about in that episode. Absolutely fascinating. It's because there are so many unexplained things about the moon and its size and its position and how it got there and where it came from and all this kind of thing. That was one of my personal favorites.
Okay. Yep. I'm going to give you one of mine, and I really enjoyed the spontaneous combustion episode.
That was a good one.
I had a thing about spontaneous combustion when I was younger, and I used to read, because when I was younger we didn't have the internet, so we used to do this strange thing where you would get bits of paper that people had written on, and made pictures, that you actually turned pages and read stuff, and I used to read these things voraciously, and spontaneous combustion just intrigued me because it's just freaking bizarre. Now, I know they talk about the wick effect, but nobody's ever really properly managed to replicate the wick effect. I mean, I remember BBC tried a programme on it where they wrapped a pig in blankets. How appropriate that we're talking about this at Christmas. But they wrapped the pig in blankets and set it on fire as if it had been having a smoke and fallen asleep, and dropped a light on it. And it kept going out. It just kept going out before the pig would catch fire. It took them ages to get the pig to actually catch fire. Once they managed to get the pig to catch fire, yes, it did burn, long and slow, but it never consumed itself entirely, and it certainly didn't consume the bones. It never consumed the bones. So this is the part of the wick effect that I don't understand it. So there are other theories around spontaneous combustion with things like, generating combustible gases inside your body and stuff like that permeates your cells, which might be reasonable, but I don't think the wick effect explains spontaneous combustion, and unfortunately I think it's still not properly explained, is it?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Yeah, and spontaneous combustion, it's one of those fascinating ones because there's actual physical evidence of people being consumed by fire in that way.
Yeah.
But it's actually, I mean, if you look at crematoria, they have to work at 2,000 degrees Fahrenheit or something insane to render a body down to ash, and then there's still bits of bone left afterwards.
Well, yeah, they have to put them through the grinder after that. But it takes like what, 2 or 3 hours to consume a body in a crematoria. Yeah. And that's just crazy.
Absolutely, and that's sustained high temperatures, which you just don't get sitting on your sofa watching your favorite television, munching on your favorite dips and snacks. I mean, but this is why we do the show, because there are these things that happen that we have actual physical evidence of them happening that we don't have any actual explanation for.
Sorry, I was just getting a link for your...
No, it's fine. But the thing is that particularly with the mainstream media or the failstream media, they seem to find it very difficult to admit that they don't know something. They always have to, and especially when that something points in the direction of stuff that's not mainstream, that's in the realm of the rabbit hole, they always have to they'll find some professor or debunker or whoever that will come up with the theory that sort of holds together a little bit, and then they'll say, no, that's it. But when you actually pick the theory apart, it doesn't make a huge amount of sense. I mean, but that doesn't mean to say we can explain it through other means. That's why it's interesting to discuss these things.
Indeed. Right. What's your next one that you liked?
I like the cryptid clash, the battle of legends,
the cryptid battle.
Yeah, I thought that was a fun show because it wasn't our usual format.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was fun to do, and it was also interesting because cryptids just are interesting. Because there's so many different types in so many different places. I don't think there's a single part of the world that doesn't have some sort of legend or cryptid, or whether it's a river monster or a lake monster or a mountain monster. Or...
Sorry. I nearly lost my freaking wine there. Soldier just typed, I spontaneously combusted once. And no, you didn't. Right, carry on. Sorry, Ed.
Yeah, lighting of farts doesn't count as spontaneous combustion.
Bacon. Zoomer.
Oh dear.
Yeah,
Right, so what was your next one?
the cryptid
Oh
clash.
no, we'll still talk about cryptids.
Yeah, well, the cryptid clash was quite interesting, and cryptids fascinate me.
Me
I
too.
think chupacabra is a weird one. I mean, people say it's a mangy dog, but it's just, I don't know. It's just it's just a weird one, because mangy dogs don't normally suck the blood out of people's necks, you know,
No, and some of the descriptions.
or mangy dog.
Yeah, but there's also descriptions that talk about things other than dogs. That okay, just because something runs around on four legs and is vaguely dog sized doesn't mean to say it's a dog. And then there's pictures of the face, which is, I don't know if people are just scared or making stuff up. I don't know, but there's a lot of, yeah. But there's humans. We also have these stories about blood sucking creatures, whether they're vampires or
Yeah,
like Dracula or vampire bats or chupacabras or whatever. It seems to be a theme.
but is that not a lot to do with the fact that we weren't very good at telling if people were actually dead? You know, and early things, because the amount of people they used to bury alive is actually quite concerning. Because they would find that, you know, they'd be digging it up for some reason or another, and when they opened the coffin, they would find, you know, their fingernails had been bloodied and scratch marks on the inside lid of the coffin because they were trying to get out, and that's why they started doing that, you know, ring my bell thing. So they would put a shaft, an air shaft down into the coffin with a string, and up the top there would be a little bell, and if you woke up, you could ring the bell. And people would
buried you.
People would dig you up and apologise.
Sorry, my bad.
Our bad.
Yeah.
We have sold your house though.
Yeah, we sold your house and all your possessions, and your wife is remarried. But
Well, that was a fear of mine growing up. I had this irrational fear of being buried alive. Well, I suppose it's not irrational.
And I don't think it's particularly unique either.
Yeah.
So I mean, for me, the idea of being buried alive would be one of the absolute worst things that could happen to you.
Mhm.
I mean, I don't even like watching it when it happens to people in movies.
You know what I hate watching? I hate watching spelunking.
Yeah. I don't even, it's one of those things.
Oh, you missed a track there. You should have said that's easy for you to say.
Oh, no, but spelunking's not a difficult word.
No, I know, but it just sounds comical.
It's a very comical name for what to me is just
torture.
I just can't imagine anything worse. I can't. I honestly do not understand people who think that. I mean, there was a video a few weeks ago, can't remember when, of these people going spelunking down into the most. It's like the narrowest access, and these people literally they even have to take their little helmet thing off. And then once you get down through this tiny ass little hole in the ground that I probably wouldn't even fit through, it goes out into a bigger cavern. But why in the name of all that is holy would you actually intentionally put yourself into that situation? Like cave diving.
Yeah.
I do not understand cave diving. I mean, I care if you're diving the Mexican cenotes, for example, which are massive freshwater caverns in the jungle that are supposed to be beautiful. That's one thing.
Oh, the freshwater, those big freshwater holes in Florida as well, where the water is so clear. But
to go down through tiny ass little crevices and cracks, I just don't get it. And I honestly don't. I couldn't do it. I mean,
especially when you've got to take your gear off to get through.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it's just, yeah, I'd be conscious. I don't trust the planet enough not to dump a whole shit ton of rocks on me at any
Well,
moment.
I mean, would it technically would it not just need like a little seismic glitch for the whole thing to suddenly go, oh, there's no space here after all?
Yeah,
Ugh.
absolutely. Or yeah, you can't get out, and
Do you remember
then
that?
you're
Actually, that's just something we maybe should look at. Do you remember those kids that get trapped in, was it Thailand?
Thailand.
Yeah.
I actually know one of the guys one of the technical divers, Eric, who was one of the guys that got them out.
Right.
And who went into the cave and then gave them all a crash course in cave diving and helped lead them out. I mean, it's an amazing story, and some of those tech divers are a special breed. Cave divers are, I mean, to me, you've basically in scuba diving, you've got different, as you do with most things, you have different levels. And
yeah, of course.
at the bottom, you've got just the recreational fun divers who can go down to 20, 25 meters. They don't have a deep diving speciality, and they're just quite happy bobbing along. Then you have the people who want to go a little bit further, and they do the sort of the deep diving speciality with recreational. Then you have the tech divers who will then go down to 50, 100 meters.
At that point, it's just
and then you have the cave divers.
Yeah, but it's just becoming a job at that point, isn't it? It's like, in fact, just going deep enough that you can't see anything is bad enough, you know. But as you go deeper, the pressure gets higher and higher, and it's oppressive, man. It's oppressive. I would not even that claustrophobic. I just find it oppressive.
Yeah, I mean, the really deep. Because some of my best diving friends, my old diving instructor, she and her boyfriend started tech diving years ago, and I've done the first level of technical qualification down to 45 meters. Mm-hmm. So I've done some 45-meter deco dives, and it's not that much in it, between 40 and 45 in terms of depth, but there's a huge difference in the technical skill that you need to go from 40 to 45 meters. Even at 40 meters, you feel like you're really deep, and you sort of can't see the surface of the ocean anymore and stuff. But then there's also there are reasons why you might want to go deep. I mean, I would love to be able to dive to 55, so I could do 60 technically, so I could do the arch in the blue hole in Dahab.
Right.
So, I mean, the blue hole itself is 120 meters, I think. But there's an arch at about 55 meters that leads back out to the sea, and I'd love to be able to do that, but I'm not sure I'll ever make that one.
Yeah, I won't. And 30 meters is enough for me. I enjoy diving. I love it, but I like to see what I'm doing. And
well, I mean, to be honest, you need lights at 55, but
exactly.
You can still see. And if you're going through the arch, you can see the light at the other end.
Yeah, the light at the end of the tunnel. Don't go into the light, Ed.
No, I mean, the thing is with the diving is I absolutely love it, but I also just like the recreational, just punting around at 25, 30 meters, and you don't have loads of technical shit to worry about.
Here's something for you to think about the next time you're going diving. Ray says, I wonder how many missing divers were eaten by a creature we've yet to discover. That's a good point. Did you ever watch Surface when it was on?
No.
It was I liked it. It was a kind of cryptid series that only ran for one season. Should have had more, probably. So because it never really finished properly, but it was quite good. Surface. I quite enjoyed it. The other one I really enjoyed was Threshold. Did you ever see that?
That's ringing some bells.
Peter Dinklage was in it.
I think I might have done.
It was a kind of.
I normally watch stuff that's got him in it because I think he's a brilliant actor.
Yeah, well, until he became a knob and did all the real dwarfs out of acting roles. Why would he do that? mean, he's a freaking dwarf, and he basically did them all out acting roles, because the original, not the original, Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, the live action remake, was going to have the Seven Dwarfs as dwarf actors until Dinklage put his nip in and said, in this day and age, should we really be typecasting dwarfs as dwarfs? And they went, oh, okay. And of course, Disney being Disney then went and recast it as the Seven Magical Creatures, which were, again, live action, right? But were a bunch of DEI characters, none of which were a dwarf. And then, of course, that got pelters on social media, so they then recast it and made the most fucking horrific dwarf characters in CGI that you've ever seen. These guys will give kids nightmares. I mean, they'll be waking up going, ah! I mean, they really are horrible looking dwarfs.
Disney is such a waste of space. Anyway, let's get back to whose turn is it?
Is it mine? Or is it yours?
What was the last
it's
one?
mine. What was the last one?
Yeah, no, because I did Who Built the Moon.
Yeah.
Then you did yours, and then
Spontaneous.
I did
So it's mine.
Cryptids.
Right, so I'm going with Rocket Man. Do you remember Rocket Man? So Rocket Man.
Oh, that was the last one.
Yeah, so Rocket Man was Jack Parsons and the supernatural origins of NASA.
Yes, I remember that one.
I've got a kind of a fascination for this guy. I think I'd like to have revisited at some point, because when I say in bed with, but he was well known. Him and Crowley were friends, I think.
Mm.
So there's a whole lot of stuff still to explore around that.
Well, there's all sorts of supernatural type connections with NASA. Like, if you see some of the imagery that they use on their mission patches, and some of the names of the missions and some of the dates of the missions and astrological alignments that have got absolutely nothing to do with the bloody mission and all this kind of thing. There's definitely, because NASA's, I mean, I'd love to revisit it, because NASA's a fascinating organization, because it's one of those most US federal agencies, they're either above board, where everything they do is public, or they're below board, where everything they do is secret. And NASA, and it's like with the FBI, they do some secret stuff, but with NASA, it has very distinctive. There's a secret section of it that has done US government work, and then there's the public side of it, which is all of the space shuttle and all these other things that they do. Plus, they've been caught out loads of times fabricating things and covering up images and releasing videos of the International Space Station with the fly bouncing around on it and stuff like that.
Well, hey, SpaceX have been doing it as well, haven't they? Remember the mouse on the rocket launch?
Oh, dear.
Yeah. Did they give that mouse oxygen supply? Yeah.
But I'm more than happy to revisit that one anytime you want.
Yeah. Well, that's cool. We'll add that into the list for next year. We'll actually maybe have a meeting and do a list for next year. Right. If you people out there,
this year,
remember,
not next year.
This year. Right. You people out there, remember them. Fire in anything that you think was a good episode or not, and we're happy to rip it to shreds. But yeah, so Matthew says do that one. Yeah, so he's into NASA as well. Never a straight answer. And maybe we should look at NOAA as well, because we don't often look at the 4-letter agencies.
We could do a four-letter agency special where, here's an idea.
Go on.
Like the Clash of the Cryptids, we should do a Clash of the 4-letter agencies.
How many are there? There's NOAA and
there's
NASA.
Hundreds of them. We should pick which ones we think are the dodgiest. Right.
Okay. Well, that's an idea. See, now we're making plans for videos that we can research and do that will keep us going for months. Excellent.
You just have to remember the ideas.
So Spencer says he loved the early one we did on Jack the Ripper. Ed's research threw up some avenues of investigation I've never heard of. You should also look at, have you seen the, in fact, I never put it on the list, but I quite enjoyed that one as well. The Hammersmith nudes murders. They were good. I don't mean that. I don't mean they were good, but you know what I mean.
The Jack, I mean, I actually enjoyed the Jack the Ripper one as well because
it was good.
Some of the stuff that came up in the research for that one was things that I hadn't encountered before, and it's a very convincing alternative explanation as to who he was.
Yeah,
that actually ties up a lot of loose ends. But my next favorite personal one was the Cataclysm one. Need we worry about? That's the 12,000 year catastrophe cycle, and Ben Davidson and the sun going boom and wiping out all life on Earth.
Cataclysm cycles, need we worry? Yeah.
That was because that's an ongoing, fascinating topic that I just monitor because I have a really bad feeling that Ben Davidson is probably right and things are all going to go seriously Pete Tong in the next 20 years.
You made a tweet the other day that concerned me.
I know, you shared it with me. The thing is that nobody's infallible. This is one of the issues that I think it's particularly with someone like Davidson who talks masses of sense the vast majority of the time.
Yeah.
For him to then say something that you think, what the hell? I do agree that with you kind of flagging that one, but at the same time, we're all allowed to make mistakes, and we're all allowed to talk out of our asses sometimes.
Well, yeah, and I mean the Cataclysm, the whole pole shift, possible Earth displacement, the whole thing's a complete and utter nightmare, and it effectively does reset the entire race back to the Stone Age, and we have to start again. And one that does then beg the question: if this can happen, or has happened, how many times has it happened in the past?
That's why it was one of my favorite episodes, because I find those questions fascinating, because we know.
Does it explain the Antikythera mechanism? Does it explain the hammer in the stone? You know, do you remember the hammer that was found in the 200,000-year-old stone or whatever? Yeah, it's weird.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
and that's another one we should come back to.
So, my next one is is it me? Yeah. Is the church or the temple? I enjoyed that one. When we looked into the satanic, I was quite taken on with it. I quite fancied pursuing it further, because there might be what they said made sense to me. I don't know, that sounds weird, but if they are true to their word, what they said made sense. But are they true to their word? See, that's the thing, because everything's propaganda these days, isn't it?
Yeah, and it's also organizations like that, because of the internet, and because of the ease at which people can find out information about stuff. Of course, they're going to say everything's light, and there's nothing evil about us. We're just calling ourselves the Temple of Satan, and there's nothing satanic about us at all. We're just another church. Nothing to worry about.
Nothing to see here.
It's just you just think, okay, well, why not pick a different name if you want to stay under the radar, and you don't want people questioning whether you're a satanic cult, then maybe not call yourself the Church of Satan. I mean, even because Satan, Lucifer, Lightbringer, you could just call yourself the Church of Light or something.
Yeah, you could. Yeah, I suppose you could.
But again, it is a fascinating topic, and
I was digging into. Sorry.
No, go on.
I was digging into, what's his name? Hermes Trismegistus. Oh God, I keep forgetting how to pronounce them. Hermes Trismegistus or something like that. You know who I mean? No.
No.
He's also known as Thoth, I think, in the Egyptian, the god Thoth. Thoth.
Right.
But Hermes Trismegistus or something like that. Hermes Trismegistus, something like that, right? And I was digging into him, so I thought, yes, Nectaridus knows. He knows what I'm talking about. I just can't enunciate it properly. I'm sorry. But Gunky, hi, Happy New Year. Yeah, that's who I was talking about. So I think we need to dig into him at some point as well.
I'm up for that.
It's very interesting. Right. So that was the Church of Satan. What's yours
so
next?
my next one is Pyramidal Power Plant.
Oh yeah.
The show we did about talking about how asking the question of whether the pyramids at Giza were some sort of ancient power generator. And I mean, we covered a whole bunch of other stuff relating to the pyramids that doesn't make a whole lot of sense. And I find some of the arguments suggesting it was a power plant in terms of the construction and things like that I found extremely compelling. And there's also been other pyramids found with similar sort of features like Mercury and things that you wouldn't expect in a tomb.
Is it the South American ones that had the Mercury? Or was it the Chinese
but there's also,
one?
I think there's...
Was it the Chinese one?
I don't know about the thing with
the
Chinese one is that
got to revisit
China's pyramids are an interesting one.
Yeah, they are.
China's got... There are pyramids in China, but they're all restricted areas. And there's no kind of... seemingly on the surface, there's no archaeology. I don't think you're even allowed to do any archaeology on them. And so there's... why keep these things hidden? It's the same as Göbekli Tepe. I mean,
and
why the hell don't these people want this... Yeah.
Why isn't Graham Hancock allowed to go and film on top of the big serpent shape in America? You know, I mean, he's not going to dig it. He didn't even want to dig it up. He just wanted to film on it, and they wouldn't let him. Why?
Absolutely.
You know,
why have they planted trees and stuff on Göbekli Tepe instead of excavating it and telling the world about it? I mean,
Matthew, there's never been a sarcophagus found inside a pyramid. There's never been... The pyramids weren't used for burials. There's never been a what do you call it, a mummy? Yeah, never been a mummy. They're all been found in their tombs in the Valley of the Kings and etc. But there's never been a mummy found inside a pyramid. They weren't burial chambers, mate. You're right.
So what was your next one?
So that one was... What were you on there?
My one was the pyramidal power plant.
Well, my next one is one that did really badly, which was the You Were the Experiment. I really enjoyed doing that one. I really enjoyed making it. And I thought it was incredibly interesting because it brought out, the amount of times the government actually experimented on the public without telling them, without warning, and basically ignored their symptoms and stuff, because people were going to hospital with problems and they were being treated, but nobody knew why. Like, the people didn't know why, and the doctors and nurses and things treating them didn't know why. And that is quite worrying when you think about what's happening in contemporary times. Are they still doing this? And I'm,
yeah.
Well, yeah, probably.
I think they are. I think they're doing it on an even bigger scale.
And why are they doing it? What do they want to do? Do they want what? Yeah, you see, that's the problem. This is where it starts to fall down for me, is why are they doing it? Because we don't have the same... I know people, they want to drive Russia down so they can use its resources, but we don't have the same Cold War pressures that we had before.
No.
So why are they doing it? Are they just evil people? Is that the
Well,
who's doing
if
it?
you'd asked,
Who are
well, the thing
they?
is, if you'd asked me this question 5 years ago or
You'd have
6
looked
years
at me
ago,
as if I was an idiot, wouldn't you?
no, I wouldn't have been as quick to be. I wouldn't have been as comfortable with the statement there are evil people doing things in this world for purely evil, selfish, malign reasons. And the last 5 years have proved that I wouldn't surprise me in the slightest.
So
And
that big pharma.
I'm sure they have a reason for their evil machinations, but yeah, doesn't make it not evil.
Well, money. Yeah. If it's big pharma, Dish 2 says we're their cattle, big pharma. Right. And if it's big pharma, then it's money, yeah. Yeah, it's just horrible.
Yeah, I agree. And it's just
Right.
you can't explain it. It's you get to a point where you see things happening in the world that the only explanation for them is that there's evil behind there somewhere. Because the kind of mindset that it takes to do some of the things we've been seeing in Gaza and other places in the world.
That's interesting. It's interesting, and let me pose this to you, right? Because someone posted something today about an American company or whatever that had taken a group of 60 or so captured German prisoners of war and gunned them down, right? And this is a matter of record, so this happened. Okay. And they gunned them all down and just left them, for dead, which they were. And
There were
my
massive camps full of German soldiers at the end of World War II that not many people know about.
yeah, I know, but don't let's not talk about that because that might get us. But anyway, so this incident happened, and people on Twitter are going, "I can't believe Americans would do that." It would be people dressed up as Americans, and I'm thinking, it's fucking
I'm
World War.
guessing these same people haven't heard of the My Lai massacre in
Yeah,
Vietnam.
yeah, well, exactly. But I'm thinking to myself, what the fuck are you talking about? Who dressed up as Americans in World War II and pretended to be Americans? But anyway, apart from that, my point was, why would anyone be surprised? Because do you think this doesn't happen and still doesn't happen? Because if you think about it, advancing armies can't afford to take prisoners in any level of numbers because one, it slows down their advance. Two, it takes people away from the front line so they can't advance as quickly. And three, it fucks up the logistics. Right? So you can't afford to take prisoners if you're an advancing army that's intended to finish the job. And this can be seen. Look what happened in Kuwait, not Kuwait, in Iraq, the road of death, when the Yanks sealed off both ends of it and just blasted the whole thing, And it wasn't just the military personnel that died there. It was a massive amount of civilians as well.
Mm. But it's also, I mean, part of it is the media and part of it is Hollywood, that particularly Western populations are raised on this diet of we're the good guys, we never do anything wrong.
Yeah,
and if we occasionally do something wrong, then it's for the greater good, so it's not a bad thing anyway. And we're the good guys, they're the bad guys, and they're the ones who torture and rape and rob and steal and everything else. But it's not as clear cut as that. And war is hell, and it turns people who would otherwise be good, solid, upstanding members of society into barbaric animals because they have to be to survive.
Mm-hmm. It does.
And
it's actually, that's a bit like that Jordan Peterson quote, isn't it? Where do not fear a good man. Oh, no, what is it? Oh, I can't remember it. But it's about you don't fear a bad man. What you fear is a good man who has to do bad. Because when you get to that point, you don't stop.
Yeah.
You know, if you're a good person generally, and you've got to the point where you have to do bad, that is when you go all in. You know.
Mm.
Anyway, that's getting quite dark, isn't it?
Yeah. Oh, there we were trying to lighten the mood on New Year's
Anyway,
Day.
I hope
part
everyone's
2.
enjoying themselves. If you aren't, let us know. And if you've any favourites of your own, let us know. Right. So whose turn is it now? Yours? Where are
I
you?
think it's my turn. I'm
Yeah.
on my last one
Yeah.
before we get to the not
That'll be
favorite
it then.
one.
What is it?
Yeah, my Mysteries of the Dark Continent.
Oh,
The show
yeah.
that we did about Africa, because I just enjoy talking about Africa, and I think
Yeah,
it's
I know
a
you do.
fascinating place, and I was brought up there, and so that kind of going home a little bit.
Mysteries of the Dark Continent. Yeah.
And I mean, we only scratched the surface as well. There's
Of course we did.
so many different. I mean, because so many different parts of Africa, so many different local legends and mysteries, and because all the different multitude of tribes in Africa have got their own tribal legends and origin stories and all this kind of thing. It's fascinating.
Well, I think we need to look at the Dogon as well, because that
I would love to do a show about Dogon.
yeah, I think we need to look at them because I remember my dad telling me about them and how they knew there was a Cyrus B, and I'm thinking, the fuck how does a tribe that has effectively no technology, right, know about Cyrus B? How?
Mm. Well, that's the big question, and it's fascinating because there's absolutely no doubt that they have this knowledge, and the thing is that they claim they got it from aliens.
Yeah.
And so, do we say, oh, they're just a primitive African tribe, they don't know what they're talking about, or do we say, well, these tribal legends are important to them, and it's sacred knowledge that's passed down through the generations, and it's so important to them that they've actually maintained that knowledge, and they say this knowledge came from people who actually live there and
Yeah.
visited Earth, and as I agree that one has to approach these things with skepticism, but I think also poo-pooing a tribal legend just because they're primitive Africans or whatever, I think is a massive mistake. And
Agreed.
I think
Absolutely
it's
agreed.
bloody arrogant and rather racist and extremely sort of neo-colonial type mentality just to write that off. Now, were they actually aliens? Were they people from an advanced civilization who ended up
Well,
with the Dogon?
that's the
Because
question.
I mean,
That's the
they could
question.
be survivors of a cataclysm who are from a much more advanced civilization here on Earth, who somehow, because of a flood or whatever, maybe the boat they were on or whatever, ended up where the Dogon were. And these people imparted all sorts of knowledge, and maybe the Dogon, because of language issues, misunderstood what these guys were saying, and they weren't saying that they were from this place, but the Dogon made them think they were. But then also, if that's the case, why would it only be this knowledge about Sirius, and why would they not have imparted technologies or something with the Dogon where, I don't know, some sort of artifacts or something that would make the Dogon, I don't know, because when supposedly with the Anunnaki and the Sumerians, they came with all sorts of knowledge and civilization and stuff, but that didn't happen with the Dogon. So if they weren't aliens that visited the Dogon from Sirius, and they were in fact lot of, like remnants of a human civilization destroyed in a cataclysm, who ended up with the Dogon and was telling them about all of this stuff, you would think that they would have told them about other stuff, not just about Sirius. So,
Yeah. I think it's an episode we need to go down, mate. I think it is. And my last one in this group is The Roman Empire never fell.
That was a good one. The Black Nobility. Yeah, I enjoyed that one as well.
Yeah.
That's another one that's got so much more life in it.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. So what have we got to now? What have we got
the
left
least
to do?
favourite one.
Oh, what is your least favourite one?
Oh, the bloody Halloween episode with the Lovecraftian nightmare that I inflicted on our poor listeners. That one didn't. That one was actually the easiest one to think about, because I mean, I enjoyed the show. I thought your stories were great, but that Lovecraft one, I just have to apologise for everyone who's listening to that, because never again. I'm not a Stephen Fry. I'm not cut out to read long stories.
It did go on.
It just didn't seem as bloody long. I mean, that's the thing when you kind of you find the story and you read it through and you think, yeah, that'd be about 5 minutes, and then you actually start reading it and it's totally not 5 minutes at all.
I know. I think I'm struggling to find the one I hate the most, because a lot of the ones I don't like are the impromptu streams I did without any real planning, right?
Right.
Which turned out things like we turned out such, forgetful episodes as the top 10 worst years ever to be. No, that wasn't one of mine, was it? No, where was the one? There was ones I've done them all, and that. Where the hell are they?
In choosing the least favorite show, if it hadn't been for that Halloween one,
Yeah.
and even that was literally just because of that stupid Lovecraft story I chose. But it's difficult to actually pick a least favorite one, because I generally speaking enjoy all of the shows we do.
Yeah, I do as well. Well, that's why maybe the ones that I don't particularly enjoy are the ones I feel the worst are things I've done on my own. Like, can you? No, what was the one I did on my own? The ones I do on my own where they're scripted and researched, they're fine, right? In fact, some of them are actually our best performing shows. But the ones where I just come on and rabbit, they don't do terribly well.
Yeah, I think you do kind of have to. Thing is that with these shows, you do have to put some work into it.
Yeah.
To begin with, to get something out of it, unless you've actually got a particular topic that you're already quite knowledgeable about and can just sit there and talk about it for hours and hours and hours.
Happy New Year, Ben.
Happy New Year, Ben. I didn't realise he was in the chat.
He's just arrived. I don't know if he's given birth yet or not, but
Espresso Mechanic TV said something in the chat. That's Ridley Scott said that he had always been interested in the idea of ancient astronauts. Yeah. Ridley Scott's a fascinating character. Some of the themes that he's explored in his movies are proper little rabbit holes. There's also some of the stuff that he's produced is absolute tosh, but let's not go down that particular rabbit hole.
So Gunky says he's going to be doing an experimental live show soon.
Okay.
Well, keep us informed, Gunky. Keep us informed, mate. What was your favourite thumbnail?
My favourite thumbnail. I sent them to you earlier, didn't I?
Oh, did you? Sorry. And where?
I think I did. Let me have a look. Did I send them to you on?
No, you did not. You just sent me. You sent me a list of names.
Yeah, that was from the shows. I quite like the UFO thumbnail.
The UFO one.
The revisited UFO episode that we did.
Right. Yeah, let me just check that. Revisited. So you quite like that one, right?
The cryptids one was good too. And actually, that show that you chose, the Black Nobility, you did a good job with that one as well.
Okay. If I had a producer, he'd be doing this while I'd be talking.
Well, I can try keeping talking.
Yeah, go on.
I thought the Alaska show that we did was quite good.
Yeah,
The different mysteries in Alaska.
There's
I
a
think
lot still to go
Alaska.
into there.
Yeah, no, that one could definitely have another show. Antarctica is another one that we can just keep going back to, because it's such a fascinating place, and we know so little about it, and it's so restricted, and you just can't. Yeah, and then you have the flat earthers who have their own theories about the ice wall and things like that, and it's just an all round fascinating place, and also how you would get tropical coral in Antarctica,
Yeah,
which doesn't make a whole lot of sense with Antarctica at the pole, but it does substantiate ideas of Earth crust displacement and the actual surface of the planet shifting around.
yeah.
Um,
Right. Okay. So I've got your thumbnail up now, and I should be able to show it. There you go. So that's one of your favorite thumbnails.
yep. Well, that's mainly because I like anything to do with UFOs.
Oh, do you?
Well, yeah, I just think that whether they're actual aliens from advanced civilizations or whether they're time travelers from future versions of Earth or whether
Whoa!
they're
Hold on! Hold on! Hold on!
interdimensional
Stop!
travelers of some
Stop!
description.
Stop! We've just had our first wish of
Oh,
2025 come true.
woohoo!
Because Ben has now said, on weeks I'm not making content, I will produce your Thursday shows.
Oh, that's very kind of him.
That is very kind of you, Ben. Thank you very much, mate. Thank you. And it
Thank you,
won't
Ben.
cost us anything. Namaste.
And then you can stop bitching about it.
Yeah, well, it's not me that bitches about it generally. It's somebody else. Usually, who has it normally? Beats and Tapes? Tells me I need a producer. Right, sorry, Ed. Sorry to interrupt you, mate. Yeah.
No, that's fine.
You do like
these things are important.
You do like your UFOs.
I've always been fascinated with space ever since I was a kid, and aliens and Star Trek and any of that stuff. Yeah, I can always talk about things like that.
I don't understand what happened in New Jersey, right? Because people just seem to lose their minds.
What with the drones?
Yeah, well, it's not even drones, mate. They've been putting up blatant videos of aircraft, right, and calling them UFOs. And, blatant videos of aircraft. It sounds like an airplane. It looks like an airplane. It's got the same lights as an airplane, and yet they're calling it a UAP.
Yeah, but the problem is that because of account monetization and because you can earn money off places like Twitter, it lends itself to people jumping on bandwagons and creating this sensationalist, overly fake content, because there's always going to be people who will share it and talk about it, and even if everyone is debunking it, that's still engagement, and it's still gonna count for your stats.
Exactly, and I think that's what's going on, because I see people that should know better continually posting stuff that's just complete and utter nonsense. It really is.
Yeah. Well, so the number of big accounts who will happily retweet things that come out of the peoplesvoice.tv, for example, which then their articles are always easy to say because they always say fact checked on them, and they have the same style, and it's clickbait mainly because they'll take rumors, or they'll take stuff that a few people are talking about on Twitter and then pass it off as if it's actually something that's happened. And they intersperse real stories with complete BS. And people fall for it because it's clickbait. They're essentially pumping out stories that people want to read about Bill Gates and all of the usual suspects, the World Economic Forum, and then you'll get these super large accounts like Liz Churchill. She's a good one for reposting people's voiced stuff. And I just see that come up, and I just can't take it seriously.
Yeah. Oh, right. One of my favorite thumbnails is this one.
Oh, that was a good one.
I enjoyed this for its simplicity, but its depth. And I don't mean to seem like a knob, although I am one. But I like the tendrils that come out from underneath the Capitol. That's the Capitol building, isn't it? Yeah.
It was a nice montage of different, fairly iconic pieces of imagery. Because the wailing buffalo man, I can't remember what his name is, from the January 6th protesters. I mean, it's like the Trump with the bloodied ear being led off stage by his Secret Service after the assassination attempt. It's just one of those iconic images that is going to still be around, assuming that the 12,000 year catastrophe cycle isn't a thing. But images like that are still going to be around in 100 years, probably. They'll be part of history books or history websites or whatever.
Yeah, right. So you guys in the chat, anybody got any episodes that you particularly liked or loathed? Anything, or even better, anything that you really think we should be covering coming up in 2025?
If people want to make suggestions, now is the time, because this is, in addition to being a review of the year, this has actually turned out to be a bit of a planning session for future rabbit holes.
It has indeed.
But yeah, it's when you start asking people questions, everyone's minds goes blank and they don't know what to say.
Don't know what to say. Don't know what to do. Right, so I watched The Net on your recommendation. Was it you? Yeah.
Yes.
Yes. So I'd seen The Net before, but I mean, call me whatever, but I'm quite happy to watch Sandra Bullock until the cows come home. Right. I just find her quite cute. She's just cute.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Yeah.
She's cute. She's got a nice smile. She's always, the parts that she plays. I mean, she's a great actress as well, and she's done some movies. I mean, her Lena Huxley in Demolition Man was brilliant.
Oh yeah, she plays that. That comedically, that's a fantastic movie, and it's incredible how these things still are so relevant today. In fact, some of them are
even more relevant,
prescient. You know, it's like, how did they know? I mean, I watched Sneakers, and I couldn't believe what they were talking about in it, right? Because they were talking about the NSA spying on US citizens, which they're not allowed to do. And what did we find out a few years ago? The NSA were spying on US citizens. I mean, it's just like they had it all. In some respects, it's actually made me feel a lot better about where we are right now, because sometimes I think with all the information we get, I mean, and let's face it, we get bombarded with information. No matter, even if you're trying not to be bombarded with information, you are bombarded with information. And it made me feel a lot better, because when I look back at these movies like Sneakers and Hackers and The Net, they're all about things that we're still worrying about because they haven't actually come to pass. And so these movies are 30 years old.
Absolutely.
You know, so in 30 years, we haven't gone as far as maybe you think we have, which is quite interesting. Because for a movie to bring it up, it's got to be something that we've been aware of as society at that point. You know what I mean?
Well,
I think
and a lot of movie. Sure, I agree with you. And if you look at a lot of movies contain some of the more interesting stuff, like the sneaker stuff. It's all conspiracy theories.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
in apostrophes. Yeah. It's all stuff that the mainstream just derides and disregards as a conspiracy theory, and some Hollywood producer thinks, "Oh, that'll make a good movie," And then it turns out not to be a conspiracy theory at all, because it's actually happening, and all of the people who were being poo-pooed at the time actually turned out to be right. And it's just, yeah. And some of it, I think in some cases, is predictive programming as well, because if they make a movie about something, then like the NSA spying on Americans, for example, and they kind of make a movie or 10 about that particular subject, then when someone comes along and says, oh, actually, I think they might really be spying on us, people can just dismiss it and say, no, you're just talking shit. This is like something out of a movie. I can't possibly believe this actually happens in real life. And it turns out, yeah, it does happen in real life.
Right. I was just writing some stuff down there. So
It's all right.
Julie said she'd like more on Alaska. That's fine. I'm happy to go to Alaska. I don't think we've done the Black Pyramid yet, have we?
We covered it. We did actually cover the pyramid in our Alaska show, but we didn't go into a huge amount of detail about it.
I'm more than happy to go to Alaska. Certainly, I'd also like. I need. I'm going to write it down. I need to do the Nahini Valley, the Valley of the Headless Men. That's got to be done, because I've been wanting to do that for about 2 years now. What's his name? Espresso said
Easter Island is a good one.
Espresso said Bill Gates. I'm quite happy to have a look at Bill Gates. Apparently Johnny Vedmo's done a thing on Bill Gates, but you know, there's nothing to stop us having a look at Bill Gates. Easter Island, yeah.
Ray says, my mate lives in Alaska. He says it's a bit chilly, just a little bit, especially this time of year. You have to be a special breed of human to live in Alaska and enjoy it in January.
My wife likes the cold stuff. I like
it
cold
dark.
as well.
I mean, if you live in the northern part of Alaska, it's. I mean, those poor bastards haven't seen the sun for ages.
Mate, I live in Scotland. We're actually not that much further south, believe it or not. I mean, I know Alaska does go a lot further north, but there are parts of Alaska that aren't far away from Scotland. You know, on the
no, that's true. I mean, you're not that far away from the polar circle.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Where else? Assange. Would you like to do Assange?
Yeah, we could. Well, we could do. It would be interesting to do a show about WikiLeaks and Assange, because.
What about Snowden? Would we do Snowden?
Yeah.
I think Snowden's an interesting character because he's one of the few.
Well, we should add Catherine Gunn to that list as well, who's was
she the lawyer?
GCHQ.
Oh,
no, she was the GCHQ whistleblower.
Have you watched Official Secrets?
Bloody brilliant film.
Yeah, that was good. Yeah, so Snowden's an interesting one because, in fact, Gunn's an interesting one as well, because these are like two of the only people I know who've actually blown the whistle and got away with it. You know what I mean?
Well, if you call being exiled in Moscow getting away with it, I mean, Catherine Gunn definitely got away with it.
Yeah, she got away with it.
She got away with it was brilliant, because they just dropped the case because they didn't want to air their dirty laundry in public.
Exactly. So she got away with it because she didn't tell everything. You know what I mean?
Mm.
Whereas Snowden told everything and got away with it by fleeing. See, this is why
Well, that was the thing, that Catherine Gunn released one document, and Snowden released an entire bloody thumb drive of stuff.
So the thing that gets me is, why do people say we protect whistleblowers when I've never seen a whistleblower ever been protected? Yeah, I know.
It's absolute nonsense.
And it's like when they do these UFO disclosure, this is the bit that really pisses me off. They bring out all these whistleblowers. They don't tell you anything. They don't tell you anything. It's all fucking nonsense. And then when you get to something that might be juicy, they go, "Oh, I can't say that. I can't tell you about that in an open session, but I'd be quite happy to tell you in a skiff." You know, yeah, fuck off, because you don't know. Basically, they don't know. It's bullshit, or it's deliberate government manipulation. You know, because I am firmly of the opinion, having dug in, you know, I've dug into this for a few months now. And when I say dug in, I've been in it, you know, up to my armpits. I am firmly of the opinion the government don't have anything. They have nothing on UFOs. They don't have any tech, they don't have anything recovered, and they don't have any aliens. They've got fuck all. But that doesn't
That's a
mean...
very sweeping statement.
Might be. That doesn't mean that there isn't something there.
Fair play.
Because remember, absence of evidence is not evidence of absence.
Yes, that's very true.
Digital says they're on a mountain in Wales, freezing out. There you go.
Oh, that doesn't sound very pleasant.
Well, depends. I mean, if they've got
Unless
a fire
you got some
going,
Welsh whiskey.
you got a fire going, some drink.
But well, if it's yeah, well, if as long as it's not too windy.
If you're in a tent, my condolences.
Yeah.
But if you're getting enough of a signal to watch 5G, you must be able to phone for an Uber Eats.
Oh dear.
I'm being facetious. I've never used Uber for anything. Have you?
Yes.
I have never.
Deliveroo saved my life yesterday.
I have never used Deliveroo. I've never used Uber. I have never used a service for delivery other than Amazon.
Well, I will confess to using them. And in some cases, I mean, the fact that Breakfast Club was open yesterday and I could get an American breakfast on New Year's Day when I was more hungover than I've felt in a very long time.
Breakfast Club?
Oh, it's a restaurant in Brighton that does, all they do is breakfast all day long, and you can get any type of breakfast. You literally anything from a bowl of muesli or cornflakes right the way up through pancakes, full English breakfast. My favorite from that place is the American breakfast, which is 3 pancakes, deep fried potatoes, 2 eggs, sausage, bacon, maple syrup, and that's the hangover out the window. Well,
I shall need to visit you
yesterday.
again.
I was more hungover. It was an American breakfast and a burger in the evening, and I went to bed still feeling crappy. So.
Yeah, I shall need to visit you again, I think. Eduardo, Happy New Year to you, Eduardo. Eduardo says Jordan Maxwell.
Yeah.
Who's Jordan Maxwell?
Oh no, I was thinking of the other Jordan Peterson.
No, Jordan Maxwell. Hold on, I shall need to look this up.
Greg's Benedict, a gunky. The less said about Greg's Benedict, the better. Anyone putting a holiday sauce on a Greg's, just no. Literally, just no.
Oh no, that was disgusting.
Wrong.
Yeah, I think I saw that. Jordan Maxwell is a preeminent researcher and independent scholar in the field of occult religious philosophy. Oh. Guess what? I'll be going to sleep
I've never even
tonight.
heard of him.
No, thank you.
Put him on the list.
Thank you, Eduardo. I shall be should be digging into him. Jordan Maxwell. Thank you. Yeah.
So we got some great suggestions.
Yeah, no, that's good. Beats and Tape says I should know Jordan Maxwell. Well,
we can't know everything.
We can't know
everybody. Simple.
I'll tell you what. I mean
the
there
number
are
of people I
people
haven't heard about probably exceeds the number of people I have heard about.
You know the guy that I the guy I used to read all the time that never seems to appear in anything is a guy called Charles Berlitz. Have you ever heard of him?
Berlitz.
He used to do a
The
lot of
surname-
stuff on the Bermuda Triangle.
The name rings a bell.
And let me see if he's still around. Well, he's probably not around, but
But I mean, you know me, I'm always interested in talking about this stuff, even if we have to do a bit of pre-show research. As long as we've got a bit of time for it, it's fun and learn new things, find out about new people, etc.
yeah. So Charles Berlitz was born in New York, grandson of Maximilian Berlitz, who founded the Berlitz language schools. As a child, Charles was raised in a household.
That's why the Berlitz language schools. That's why it rings a bell, because I think we actually have one of those here in Brighton.
So Berlitz's statements about the Bermuda Triangle and the Philadelphia experiment were heavily criticised by researchers and scientists for their inaccuracy. He's also drawn criticism for ignoring possible natural explanations and promoting pseudoscientific ideas. I think we've got to have a look at Charles.
Yeah, no. Anytime the mainstream accuses someone of being a pseudoscientist, we need to look further into them.
Yeah. So I'll put him on the list as well. Because I used to read his books. He was quite interesting. His stuff quite interesting. Who was that other guy I used to read? No, it was fiction, but it was like really interesting stuff. Was it Alex Scarrow? No, it wasn't Alex Scarrow. Was it? What was the Black Hole Sun and all that? Hold on.
I have no idea.
Because the Black Sun was a Nazi thing, wasn't it?
I don't know anything about it.
Have you not heard of the Black Sun?
No, don't think so.
All right. You need to start looking at it.
I will. I'll ask Croc about it.
The Black Sun. Alchemy and the Art of Darkness. Oh,
Alchemy and the Art of Darkness.
that's not the book I was talking about though, but
it is getting quite late. It's nearly quarter to 11.
Sorry, right? You want
No, it's fine. I'm just doing a little time check because I just looked at the time.
Well, see, that's the thing. Sometimes when our stuff does tend to run away with ourselves.
No, I'm not complaining. I mean, I'm working at home tomorrow, so
yeah, I
do need to wrap it up at some point.
Yeah, no problem. Right, so let's bring back into play. Says Gunky Fadgets. Let's bring back into polite usage. Bah humbug. John D'Souza, ex-FBI agent. Maybe we should do some. Well, we were doing true crime as well. I quite enjoyed the true crime.
We can do
stuff.
some more true crime.
We can maybe dig into
true
some
crime.
True crime. I'd like to do some true crime, wouldn't we all? I tell you what I watched last night. Yeah, well, was it not me that made the error? I wasn't mocking you, my man. I thought it was me.
No, it was me that made the error.
I think I made it as well then at the same time. Yeah, because I thought I was mocking myself, and obviously you took it as you. But anyway, I watched the X-Files last night. The movie I Want to Believe, the one with Connolly in it, who plays the paedophile priest.
Yeah.
And Amanda Pays, who plays the exceptional FBI agent. But yeah, it was quite interesting. I enjoyed it on a rewatch.
I love the X-Files.
I think I prefer the first movie.
Oh, I have a playlist on my media server of the entire UFO story arc in the X-Files.
Yeah.
So whenever I fancy watching a bit of X-Files, it's usually that. And
what's this playlist then? What is it?
Oh no, it's just a playlist I made myself on my Plex server.
Of episodes or?
Yeah. There's if you do a search for X-Files UFO story arc list. Someone's done a very helpful IMDb list of all of the episodes in the arc, and if you watch them, just those, and you skip all of the other extraneous episodes, it's very gripping because they all lead on from each other.
Yeah, no, that'd be quite good. Espresso Mechanic says Ian Fleming might be worth looking into. Yeah, I'll put him on the list. The author of James Bond.
Yeah, and there's a few other characters from that period who we could also look at. I mean, the actor, what's his name? Christopher Lee is another fascinating one, because he was the only star in Lord of the Rings that had actually met Tolkien. And he also explained to Peter Jackson what it actually sounded like when you stuck a knife in someone and then pulled it out again. And he's one of the few actors that has been in all of the seminal movie series. I mean, he was in Star Wars, he was in Lord of the Rings.
Christopher Lee was brilliant. He was the best Dracula ever.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah, there's no. I mean, there are certain things that I will brook no argument on. One is Christopher Lee.
I wouldn't argue with you on that.
Christopher Lee's the best Dracula ever, and the best.
But he's one of those rare actors, like what's his name? Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Alec Guinness.
Yeah, he's one of those rare actors who can elevate an entire movie out of the depths of shitness just by being so bloody good.
Peter Cushing.
Yes, another one. Yep.
Now the other guy that I will brook no argument about is the best Sherlock Holmes ever is Basil Rathbone.
To be honest, don't think I've actually seen the Basil Rathbone one, but I'm a huge Sherlock Holmes fan, so
you need to must watch the Basil Rathbone ones. They're set back in the 30s and 40s, but they are brilliant. Well, I don't mean they're set back; they were filmed in the 30s and 40s.
African as well, wasn't he?
Was he? I don't know.
I think Basil Rathbone was.
If I say yes, you'll watch it. So yeah, he probably was.
No, I'm going. I need to. I'll need to just get a hold of it. I'll probably watch them on YouTube.
Actually, Matthew says, are the Bush family related to Crowley? I don't know. Right, but what I think we need to do is we need to look at the royal family and the current connections to American politicians.
We should get Johnny Vedmore in for that.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, we probably should.
Because if there's anyone on this planet that knows stuff like that, it's Johnny. But I do think we need to wrap it up, mainly because I need to go to the loo. Yeah,
no problem, mate. No, it's been great. It's been great for me. I hope everybody else has had a great night. Great night.
Yeah, well, the chat's been active, so.
Yeah, thank you very much for attending. Remember, like, share, subscribe, you know what. If you can, think about maybe dropping a little donation the next time. It's been a while since we had one. but only if you can afford it. And I know times are hard in January. But they're hard for me too.
We got 91 days of January to survive as well.
Yeah, exactly. So, thank you very much, everyone. It's been great. It's been great for me. It's been great for you, Ed. And it's been great for you.
Hey, kid, don't ever let them get inside your head. They'll tell you what to do in life instead of everything you know that you could get. Don't let them guide your life towards regret. I'll fight for what I love with every breath. My past is filled with things I won't forget. I use them all to push me to my best. So treat the worst of times just like a test. If only I could go back in time, I'd tell myself that everything will end up alright. Just push yourself, test yourself, figure out what you like, and find your limits, don't be rigid, always work towards a prime. Surround yourself with open minds, people can change your life. A few friends with intent can help you feel alive. find a passion, take some action, and with a little time, just be patient, make a statement, try to enjoy your life. They'll try to kick you while you're down, they wanna rise up while you drown, they wanna fill your head with doubt, they're silently scared that you'll figure it out. I'll make it look like I'm losing, won't bother hiding my bruises, and when they finally think you're wounded, then it's your chance to be ruthless. Then it's your chance to be ruthless. They don't wanna see me make it, they don't wanna see me care. Anytime I make some progress, I can see that they compare. I think everyone's against me, maybe something in the air. Am I paranoid? I swear a void is forming and they're scared. I walk a straight path, not many can say that. I like to play fast, cross me and there's payback. You better pray that I don't see your face at any place that I go. I know you hate that. I've been doing fine, I'm not wasting any more time. I live for the fight and the climb, and I think that the pain that's deep inside is what defines. So I won't give up, I'm gonna make it to the top. I don't care what's in my way, I swear I'm never gonna stop. I could fall flat on my face and I swear I will get back up, cause I don't deserve a thing and the road ahead is tough. They'll try to kick you while you're down, they wanna rise up while you drown, they wanna fill your head with doubt, they're silently scared that you'll figure it out. I'll make it look like I'm losing, won't bother hiding my bruises, and when they finally think you're wounded, then it's your chance to be ruthless.